Greetings and welcome to another edition of The Great Goddess. Praise be to Goddess. Praise be to Goddess. Well, here it is, another Wednesday, and today we have for you the topic Goddess has infinite forms, but she also has no form. And what does this mean, and what does it mean for us? Why should we know that Goddess has infinite forms? Why should we be concerned if she has no form? Well, image is very important to people, okay? Even me, image is very important. It's important how you present yourself to the world. And the way Goddess presents herself to the world is in infinite forms. Okay, she has infinite forms and she presents herself to the world with infinite forms, but in reality, she has no form. And so, what does this mean? Well, a lot of people like to worship in front of images. They like to worship the image rather than the goddess, or worship the image rather than the god. They always worship the image. And this is a bad habit people have of worshiping images. If you're going to worship in front of a blank wall. Don't worship any images. Don't worship any images because images are too easy for us to worship, okay? As humans, we're fallible and we're very captivated by an image. Okay, an image captures our hearts, it captures our minds, and we're besotted by an image. So, because we're besotted by an image, we have to be careful not to worship an image. And some people do worship images. Some people worship in front of an image, and they always will. But uh, um, it's good not to worship in front of images. So Abraham had it right. Abraham actually was right about something, that you shouldn't worship in front of images because they are the products of a man's hands. And so you shouldn't worship in front of the images. And so what does this mean? Why, if Goddess has infinite images, then why can't we worship one? Well, because Goddess is not the image. In reality, she has no form. So we don't want to worship in front of an image. Now, our image is all right. Can we own an image? Can we look at an image? Yes. Yes, images are all right as long as you don't worship them. In fact, you can have religious art all around your house. All around your house, you can have religious art. You can have um, inspiring people that inspire you, uh, and images of Goddess. You can have all sorts of images, just as long as you don't worship any of the images. That's the key, because in reality, Goddess has no form. So, because the reality is that she has no form, we shouldn't worship in front of the images. But um, in reality, Goddess also has infinite forms. So it's okay to own the images. It's okay to keep the images in your house, and to uh, gaze upon the images and enjoy the images, but not to worship them. So there's many images of Goddess, and I have some of my own favorites. I create goddess art. I make images of Goddess in my own personal spare time. I haven't got one right now to show you, but they're nice. But Goddess images, not for worship, but okay to own and okay to make Goddess images. So make your images in your own home with care and love, and don't make the goddess into a freak show. Don't make her look freaky. So I've actually written some rules for making goddess images and the stipulations that for making goddess images, and how to make goddess images properly, because some people don't know anything about making goddess images. They just make whatever image comes into their mind, and they don't realize, they don't think about that goddess might look different from what they conceive, but is very um, beautiful, always beautiful. Goddess is beautiful in every way. So I made a list of rules for making goddess images. And just off the top of my head that I can think of, one of them is that it's okay for goddess to have a disability in one of the images, as long as she doesn't have more than two disabilities, because more than two disabilities, you're beginning to make her look a little odd, a little bit odd, okay? And most people don't have more than two disabilities in real life anyway. So, um, two disabilities is the limit for goddess images. And also for goddess images, um, putting symbols around her, like astrological symbols or things like that, are not appropriate, because God is beyond all symbols and all symbolism. She's beyond that, and she's beyond our human symbols that we've created. So no symbols around goddess, no elements of witchcraft that make it obvious that it seems like the goddess is a witch. No elements of witchcraft, and also, um, like a pointy hat, that sort of thing that makes her look like a witch. And also, no half human, half animal goddess images. Like, for example, a picture of her as half mermaid or half unicorn or part animal. Those It's okay to show her with animals, but not to have the goddess as a half an animal. And also, not a lot of gold or brocade or things that make her look real fancy or rich, like gold necklaces or silver necklaces or gold crowns or that sort of thing, to keep the goddess looking simple and plain, like she does, like she's affiliated with um, the lower castes of this world, the lower classes of this world, that she is an affiliation with them. So she doesn't wear fancy things. She is a queen. She is a queen, no doubt, queen of the universe. But not showing off flashy bling bling. Bling bling is the best way to put it. That Not to show her wearing fancy bling. And that's it. The goddess images, we we can enjoy her image, and we can enjoy pictures of goddess that artists have created, and they could be any race at all. They can even be disabled, but no, none of the things I mentioned at all. So um, we love goddess, and we want her to be to have a clean image. We want her to have a clean image, and we want her to have a good image. Um, and she's not the witch's goddess, but she is the woman's goddess. So any of you who are witches out there, she's still your goddess, but she just doesn't approve of your witchcraft, but she's still your goddess. So she still takes you in, takes you in when you're scared or needing her. She takes you in. So, Goddess, we love you and we worship your image when in our minds and our hearts, but we don't worship an outward image because we know the outward images are the products of men's hands, so we don't worship those. And we don't worship any other human being as goddess, like a human being dressed up as goddess. We don't worship that either. We don't worship any images of you, except we worship you in our own hearts. And we have our own particular image of you in our own hearts and minds. Mine is a Native American goddess. That's what I saw when I first had a vision of goddess. I had a vision of goddess, and the vision of her was as Native American, but she can take any race in any form. So worship goddess. Don't worship her, the images of her, but worship an image of her in your own heart. In your own heart, you have an image of goddess, and worship that in your own heart. I'm Sarah Jane Alpha Wolf signing off. Have a great week and keep up your purification diets.